Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We appreciate you being here. We have a great show for you. First, Luigi Mangione. He is living large while he is in custody thanks to supporters like you. Sean Combs, a little life after sentencing. Another pillar of the educational system, caught doing you-know-what. A sheriff was indicted in Missouri, and wait until you hear what for. The weirdest birth announcement, kind of a true crime style, if that's the way you want to call it. This day in legal history, our quote of the day and our dumb criminal gives new meaning to the word stealthy intruder. Let's talk about it.
All right, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Before we get to the docket, let me remind you to go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for that background subscription service today so that you can check out people that are either in your life and they're not giving you the warm, fuzzy feeling, or maybe people that are coming into your life and you want to make sure that you get nothing but warm, fuzzy feelings about them. Check them out. Find out what's their social media presence, email addresses, criminal history. Are they married, divorced, liens, judgments? Find out who's coming into your life. CrimeTalkSearch.com. Let me also remind you, listen, these things are flying off the shelf. People were literally sending, I don't know how many of these out a day, but it's a lot. So get them while they last. You need to do it. Everyone's getting them for their, keychains, putting them on their bags to identify their luggage. You name it, people are doing it. It's $5, ladies and gentlemen. Best way to support the channel, $5. Can't do it. And also, let's not forget, these are also hot sellers as well. Lawyer. And this one is a big seller too. Ben told you we were doing a little more merch and didn't realize what an amazing response that we would get. It just literally seems like they're flying off the shelf. So go check out the link below. All right, let's go ahead and get to the docket for Thursday, October 16th of 2025. And first on the docket, Luigi Mangione. Don't you all worry about Luigi Mangione, okay? Luigi, he's the beacon of modern heroism and apparently is swimming in about $40,000 worth of prison pocket change, courtesy of his adoring fan club, all while he lounges in jail pondering his federal murder rap for offing United Healthcare bigwig Brian Thompson. Now, this 27-year-old alleged sharpshooter who supposedly shot Thompson right in the middle of New York streets during some fancy conference back in December of 2024 has somehow morphed into a celebrity heartthrob after a dramatic 5-day game of hide and seek with the police. Now, according to the ever-reliable gossip mills, his devoted followers are stuffing his commissary account at the Metropolitan Detention Center like it's a GoFundMe for the world's most misunderstood vigilante, ensuring his incarceration is as plush as his budget spa retreat. Now, little birdie from inside the slammer whispers that our boy can blow up to $160 daily on gourmet delights. Think a luxurious jar of Nutella for a steal at $4.90 or some gourmet sausage, $2.90. Why not splurge on oatmeal for $3.65 or some zesty jalapeno wheels at $3.20? And let's not forget the pinnacle of fine dining, a slab of Velveeta cheese for $3.70. Who needs freedom when you've got processed cheese? Drawing from ancient prison shopping catalogs in New York's inmates like him can snag essential like vitamins, deodorant, laundry soap, and booze, free beverages without breaking the bank, because nothing says rehabilitation like affordable hygiene. But wait, the generosity doesn't stop at cash. His fan mail is piling up like junk in a hoarder's attic. Reports suggest that these little letters from enamored ladies turn downright steamy, with one gem allegedly expressing a desire to freak out on his manhood. How poetic. Sources claim he's raking in up to 200 such love notes daily, because nothing screams romance like corresponding with a guy accused of cold-blooded murder execution. Even the former president couldn't resist chiming in on this cultural phenomenon, opining to a news outlet that the ladies fawning over him represents some kind of social malady worth a deep dive. It's not possible, he declared, as if the world hasn't seen weirder obsessions. Mangione, the ever picture of innocence, has entered a not guilty plea and even scored a minor courtroom victory when those pesky state terrorism charges got tossed out for lack of sufficient evidence on that terrorism angle that they were going for. His cheer squad hails him as the ultimate corruption slayer, claiming he chomped a piece out of the rotten system by allegedly dispatching the 50-year-old executive. Now, the Ivy League whiz kid has apparently ascended to icon status in the healthcare rebellion, with supporters painting him as a crusader. He reportedly etched deny, depose, and delay on his ammo, a subtle nod to his beef with the medical machine, fueled by his own chronic back woes. Last month, his legal eagles pushed to ditch the federal charges and nix the death penalty option, blaming loose lips from the U.S. Attorney General's office for tainting the jury pool. Back in April, she urged prosecutors to go for the ultimate punishment, dubbing the hit as calculated. Ruthless slaying rattled the nation. While most killings stay in a state court, they've slapped him with a federal gun-related murder count tied to violent crimes, which conveniently opens the door to the capital punishment, since the New York doesn't bother with that anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, don't worry. Luigi's going to be just fine. Whatever happens, he's going to have his fan club. He's living large. You got 40 grand in your bank account at the commissary. You are billionaire status in there. You get protection. You get whatever you need when you have the keys or the cash for the commissary. Can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. Next, Sean Combs, also dealing with a little life after sentencing. How the mighty have fallen. Or should we say, how the once jet-setting rap mogul is about to discover the thrilling perks of post-prison life. Sean Diddy Combs, that beacon of glamour and excess, has apparently been handed a reality check straight from the annals of judicial mercy. Fresh court records, graciously uncovered for our entertainment, reveal that the oh-so-lenient strings attached to his freedom after serving a mere 4-year stint, assuming he sweet-talks his way into a cushy, low-security spot in New Jersey. That's right, here we go. This 55-year-old icon, accustomed to cavorting in multi-million-dollar mansions and private jets, will grace us with 5 years of supervised release, starting sometime in 2028 or early 2029. How delightful. He'll enjoy mandatory chit-chats with his probation officer because, well, nothing says rehabilitation like scheduling oversight. At least, and let's not forget the mandatory drug tests, starting with one within 15 days of release, followed by a couple more for good measure. After all, who wouldn't want to prove their sobriety after decades of losing their way in a haze of substances? But wait, luxurious package. That's right, the luxurious package. Enrollment in outpatient program for drug testing, mental health treatment, and how fitting, of course, a domestic violence class. His probation officer gets the VIP pass to pop in unannounced, ensuring his approved residence remains the model of compliance. And if there was even a whiff of suspicion, will prepare for searches of his person, property, vehicles, gadgets, and whatever else he might hide his little secrets in. How thoughtful of the system to keep things so intimate. And of course, no firearms or dangerous toys for Diddy, because clearly that's the highlight of his former lifestyle he'd missed the most. He'll also be expected to clock in at least 30 hours a week at some gainful employment. Cannot believe that keeps falling off. He'll also be expected to clock in at least 30 hours a week at some gainful employment. And heaven forbid he mingles with anyone even remotely shady. With a fortune that's dwindled from billionaire status to a modest $400 million, he's already practicing frugality by failing to unload his $61.5 million Los Angeles residence, the once famously ransacked residence by police back in 2024. Not to mention his Miami digs, where they carted off 1,000 bottles of baby oil amid the chaos, selling properties from behind bars. Apparently it's not a breeze. Now, all of this stems from Diddy's heartfelt plea to Judge Submaranian, begging for a transfer from Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center, described by him as inhumane with its lack of clean water and constant fear of foul play, to the idyllic FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey. There, he hopes to dive into residential drug treatment programs, potentially shaving off a year from his sentence in what they refer to as the RDAP program. And experts, however, are chuckling at the motion. Now, some are chuckling at the notion, pointing out the sex offender like him, convicted on transportation of prostitution charges, typically don't qualify for such perks. But hey, if Ghislaine Maxwell got a waiver, you got to dream big. Now, in the meantime, while languishing in the MDC's special housing unit, far from the Grammys after parties, Diddy's been playing professor, teaching entrepreneurship to fellow inmates. How noble. He's even reflected on that infamous assault on his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, admitting that he was dead wrong. Touching, isn't it? And with $500,000 fine on top of his release possibility in November of 2028 with his credit for time served, one can only imagine the rehabilitative efforts awaiting this reform star. Justice served? You decide. After all, it's not like he's getting off easy. And ladies and gentlemen, these conditions of release, these are standard for just about everybody in the federal system. They literally just go through, the judge does, at the recommendation of the pre-sentence investigation report writer, and they check off everything that you need to do upon release within 15 days to have a drug test, check in, and basically do everything they tell you to do. It's standard and routine. Nothing special for old Diddy here, one way or the other. He's going to be treated just like anybody else. Next on the docket, another pillar of the educational system caught doing, well, can you guess? You know what? How utterly shocking. Another pillar of the educational system caught in a brilliantly executed trap, confessing to sending creepy messages to what he thought was a 13-year-old girl and even begging for some naughty pictures. Now, this gem of a story caught straight from the heart of Long Island, where an unnamed elementary school instructor from Wading River got his just desserts courtesy of the vigilante outfit called Predator Poachers Long Island Edition. So here we go. The so-called educator struts into an undercover setup, spills his guts on video about chatting up a fake teen profile, and then casually admits to dishing out lessons in self-pleasure among other revolting comments, because you know that's exactly the kind of extracurricular activity every teacher should be pursuing. Now, the local Suffolk County cops are on the case, naturally keeping mum on the juicy details while they poke around. Meanwhile, the Wading River school bigwigs wasted no time yanking this guy from the classroom throne, slapping a suspension on him and barring him from even sniffing on the school property. In a letter that's sure to warm every parent's heart, the perfunctory letter from the superintendent basically says, "Hey folks, we got wind of this clown spouting horrific nonsense on a live stream, and the Riverhead police are digging into it, and we'll play nice with them every step of the way." How reassuring. Nothing like a good old-fashioned probe to restore faith in the system. If only they had gone to CrimeTalkSearch.com. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, how many times have we said it? And we'll say it again. Be careful who is around your children. All right? Be careful. I don't know how many times to say this. I have done criminal defense for 30 years. This is a public service announcement from a private defense attorney. Okay? I'm telling you, be careful who you let around your children. All right? And if people want to work in jobs that want to be around children, well, you need to take a double check on those particular individuals. Why? Let's face it, I love my children, but do I want to hang out with a bunch of other little children? No. Okay? People hang around things that they really like. In my free time, what do? I like to go to the airport. Why? Because I like airplanes. If somebody wants to volunteer and hang out with the kids, check them out. Not saying they did anything wrong. There's some really good people in the world. And maybe my cynicism of 30 years of criminal defense is just coming through a little too much, but I'm telling you, be careful with who is around your children. Next, a sheriff is indicted in Missouri and wait till you hear for what. So it must be to wield the badge with such unbridled finesse. Missouri's very own St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery finds himself ensnared in federal allegations of playing the ultimate boss from hell, complete with a burner phone for those oh-so-subtle intimidation tactics. Apparently not content with his initial brush with the law, where he was accused of unlawfully arresting a jail administrator back in February for daring to keep his deputies at bay. Now, Montgomery allegedly decided to elevate his game while out on bond. So our esteemed sheriff, ever the paragon of justice, reportedly demoted one employee whom we'll call WH for the sake of discretion, and under the mistaken belief that this poor soul was spilling secrets to the feds. But wait, once the depositions cleared that up, Montgomery allegedly shifted his righteous indignation to 3 other witnesses. We'll dub them LS, TS1, and TS2, who he claimed had been playing games from the start. Now, in a recorded call on September 5th of 2025, prosecutors say he unleashed a tirade worthy of a mobster monologue, declaring these individuals as the true snakes in his garden, insisting they definitely gotta go, and reminding everyone that you work for me at my pleasure, because nothing says professional leadership like reminding your staff they're mere playthings in your personal little fiefdom. To add to that extra layer of charm, federal authorities alleged Montgomery barred these witnesses from the courthouse and slapped one with unpaid administrative leave for insubordination, without, of course, bothering to explain what that might entail. And the cherry on top, he's supposedly orchestrated the symphony of retaliation via a burner phone purchased during his bond period, as if borrowing from every cliche crime drama script. Fast forward on Tuesday, and a superseding indictment drops like a well-timed punchline: 4 counts of witness retaliation and 1 for tampering. Now, Montgomery, previously lounging in house arrest, is now cooling his heels in federal custody, where federal authorities thoughtfully collected 14 firearms from his residence for safekeeping. His attorney naturally insists his client's spotless innocence, decrying the proceedings as a farce where the prosecution dodges evidence of purity. Because in this tale of power and pettiness, who wouldn't root for the underdog sheriff who just wanted everyone to know their place? Next on the docket, the weirdest birth announcement, maybe true crime style, maybe, or just weird and creepy. But, if the kids are in the room, we're a family program, maybe cover their ears. All right. So how utterly romantic. A Missouri woman decides to spice up her ex-fling's life by delivering a cooler packed with a human fetus, complete with the charming quip, "Here's your kid," according to the arrest affidavit. So here is this heartwarming scene. Michaela Annette Het, a sprightly 29-year-old from the Show Me State, gets booked on a shiny felony charge of first-degree harassment. Why, you ask? Because nothing says I care quite like showing up at your occasional hookup's doorstep with a macabre surprise that could star in its own horror flick. Court records paint the picture of this delightful escapade where Pulaski County Sheriff's deputies rolled up at the home in Waynesville around 2:45 a.m. on September 18th, responding to reports of a fetal remains chilling, literally in a cooler. Now, the poor sap on the receiving end described their history as casual, no-strings roller coaster, friends for ages, romantic sparks here and there, but never anything official, just your standard fling, folks. Get over it. Anyway, a couple months back, Het dropped the bombshell that she's expecting, but our skeptical hero brushes it off, citing her reputation for chronic fabrication of facts. That's called lying, ladies and gentlemen. Fast forward to September 17th, she texts about a supposed miscarriage because why not add some emotional whiplash, right? Then in a move straight out of a bad rom-com gone wrong, she swings by, scoops him up for several errands, treats him to a meal courtesy of a local charity, and caps it off by thrusting a red and white cooler sealed with green tape into his hands. "Here's your kid," she announced with all the warmth of a tax audit. before peeling out like she's late for the next plot twist. The guy, blessing his naive soul, figures it's just another one of her twisted pranks, maybe a six-pack or sodas, right? He stews over it for nearly 2 hours, too spooked to peek, before roping in a buddy for moral support. Lo and behold, they crack it open to find, well, exactly what she promised. Cue the frantic call to the police. In his chat with the police, the victim, eye-brimming with what can only be assumed is pure disbelief, rambles about how this is stuff of viral nightmares you scroll past online, never dreaming you'd crash into your own backyard. Shocked doesn't even cover it. He couldn't fathom she'd stoop to such a grotesque level, and the police confirm the cooler's grim cargo, summons the coroner to whisk it away for analysis, and slap Het with charges for inflicting what they're calling severe emotional distress. Because apparently that's the legal term for turning someone's world into a psychological dumpster fire. Well, Miss Het is cooling her heels in custody on a $50,000 bond, with court set on October 28th. One can only hope that the judge has a strong stomach for this brand of affection. You cannot make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. That is one of the more bizarre things I have seen in a long, long time. Next on the docket, this day in legal history, October 16th, 1793. The French Queen consort Marie Antoinette was convicted of treason by a revolutionary court and then guillotined on October 16th, 1793. Now, the Queen consort was convicted of conspiring with foreign powers, depleting the treasury, and high treason only 4 days after her initial arrest on October 12th. Now, that is a speedy trial. Her husband, Louis XVI, was executed 9 months prior. And on this date, October 16th, 1946, 10 Nazi war criminals, including former German Foreign Minister von Ribbentrop, were hanged following the verdicts of the Nuremberg War Crimes Tribunal. Next, our quote of the day. Wait for it, ladies and gentlemen. This is good. Think about this. Law cannot persuade where it cannot punish. Now, I thought this was significant because we have a matter where we're trying to get somebody to do something, to produce documents in a case. They refuse to do so. So we have to file a motion to show cause. I'm going to use this quote with the judge and say, Your Honor, you need to cleanse the dignity of the court for them not following your orders. And the law, Your Honor, the court cannot persuade when it cannot punish. So find him in contempt and then make him comply. Sitting in custody oftentimes motivates people to do things they don't want to do. But we digress. Next, our dumb criminal of the day. Bravo to Joshua Garrison, our undisputed champion in the Dumb Criminal of the Day Derby. This genius from Florida decided that the best way to embark on home invasion adventures was to strip down to his most natural state. Why? Because stealthy intruder is what he was going for. Quite like parading in the buff under the glow of the neighborhood security cameras. So how did this gentleman get here? Well, in the charming suburbs of Pinellas Park, our bear-all bandit allegedly treated residents with an unsolicited peep show while attempting to ransack their properties. Now, police must be thrilled. After all, who needs fingerprints when you've got, well, clear footage of a guy mooning the world during his ill-fated caper? He even had the audacity to ring doorbells at ungodly hours, as if expecting a warm welcome in his emperor's new clothes ensemble. One wide-awake local recounted spotting this exhibitionist at his doorstep, only for the intruder to channel his inner vandal by hurling flower pots at a parked truck and yanking decorative lights like they owed him money. Another resident got an even more exclusive performance. That's right. Our hero allegedly sprinted into the backyard, indulged in some self-admiration, snatched an axe from the shed, and then bounded onto the porch like he was auditioning for a low-budget flick. But the real highlight, surveillance clips purportedly capture this nude ninja creeping through a backyard, boldly approaching a door, and then, drumroll please, venturing inside, where he was hilariously halted by a bewildered family dog staring up at his exposed glory. Talk about a watchdog earning its keep. Well, that pooch deserves a medal for enduring the ultimate awkward encounter. Thankfully, the sheriff's office swooped in on Tuesday to end the spectacle, slapping cuffs on Garrison and charging him with burglary, armed burglary, and a smorgasbord of other brilliant decisions. Neighbors are breathing sighs of relief, noting that in a place where everyone's packing heat, courtesy of the Second Amendment, this streaker dodged more than just the law. He narrowly avoided becoming a Swiss cheese. And for his grand finale, a mugshot, where that's right, he remembered to put on some pants. What a class act. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for today. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time. And remember, that's right, the Constitution matters.